Yes, hello fans of the verse and browncoats alike. Welcome to the Firefly Still Flying podcast. We're back for episode 4 of the show, and this time we're going to get into the characters a little more, discussing what we like about them, their flaws, their story arc so far, and whatever else comes up. So just we can amp ourselves up about the rewatch that's coming up in just an episode or two, and get ourselves ready by remembering everything we can about them. I am your host, Martin Donison.
And I am the real Brian.
Yeah, we are back.
Yes.
As they say.
Can't wait to talk about their flaws, because it's good to just tear people down. And, wait, I'm sorry. What were we talking about?
Yeah. I mean, I might not find many flaws with these characters, but...
No, that's true. They are kind of almost perfect.
Yeah. So just before we get into it, I got a little bit of news. And before we get to that, you're listening to one of the newest show on the Cybercast Network. That all began with Tomorrow's Legends. And we got Dive into DC and The Mandalore to cover all your superhero and Star Wars needs. So check out those other shows.
Yeah, here's Star Wars fans. I am Star Wars #1 fan.
Yeah, it looks like it.
All right, Mandalore people, you know what it's all about. That new Maul series is amazing.
What a chump. You see what he's wearing? My God.
I mean, come on. Gotta have fun with it. Yeah, if you're listening, you're gonna have to go check out the video.
Yeah, once I post them, I got to get the videos up. I got to create the whole YouTube channel for this show, and then I'll get everything up there for us. Yeah.
Love it.
All right, well, let's get into some news. I got some news.
Righteous.
Here's the guy there just in the nick of time. What does that make us?
Big damn heroes, sir.
Ain't we just?
So I expressed this on one of our other shows. I think it was on Legends. I was saying I did find out a little bit of something, because we always want to know what's happening with the reboot, with the animated show. Or not the reboot, I should say, the continuation of the show. And Nathan Fillion said on one of his latest episodes on the Once We Were Spacemen podcast that he has actually gone in for a third meeting with one of the major streaming platforms to talk about Firefly still flying and secure it a home. So he didn't say which, but you have to imagine it's one of the big ones. When he says major streaming platform, you're thinking Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, maybe Apple TV, I don't know. But having a third meeting means there's been some significant progress made in discussing, all the logistics and things that have to happen to get the show back on the air. So that's exciting news.
Okay, good. So you're saying the third meeting with the same platform. Okay, I was going to think like his third separate platform meeting is where my brain went. Oh, wait, never mind. No, you're good. Okay.
Yeah.
Woo!
Third meeting with the same platform. So to me, that's positive. That's something to be
definitely
excited about. Yeah,
it's coming together. It's coming together.
So
I can't
who
wait.
would you think? Like Amazon, Netflix? Like Amazon is spending a lot of money right now getting into the streaming game. So I'm wondering who could it be?
This is going to be a tough one because if I feel like Apple, to be honest, has done some of the better shows overall lately, but most people don't have it.
Right.
Be a little bit harder. Netflix is hit or miss. I mean, sometimes they've got these great shows and sometimes they don't. So I don't know. It's who would you like to have? That's the question.
Well, and here's the thing that I'm curious about too, because doesn't Disney own the rights now? They have Firefly on Disney Plus. When they bought CBS Fox, don't they own the rights to Firefly? So who else could he be talking to that Disney's question. Okay with? This is where I'm confused. I'm not actually sure.
Yeah. Interesting. I wonder.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what actually happens. I think as long as they don't destroy the show, which I know, Nathan's going to have a huge hand in this one, but it's just more of that, sometimes the platforms come in and they impose their ways. And so
they do.
That's what I was trying to think about is which platform would be the best option. But I don't know. I'm sure they've got that all under control. We'll trust them.
We'll trust them. Yeah. That's logistics we don't need to be concerned about.
No, I don't know which one it's going to be. I don't even know where to start on this one.
No, I'm not sure. Maybe it is Disney. Maybe he just can't say Disney right now. Maybe that's who he's talking to. I don't know. I don't know. Well, let's get into this. We're going to break it down character by character. We're just going to talk about them. And what I've done is I've gone and did some research for these characters, because Firefly went off the air way back in 2004. So there's been a lot of comic books, a lot of novels, all that stuff we've told you guys about that have come out. So somebody's gone and put together sort of a real mini synopsis for each character about their history and their story. So I put that down in our notes. I'm going to read it for each character just to give us an idea of where they came from and what they're doing. And then I got some questions. We're just going to go through and talk about each character and what we think and feel. So
I love
let's
it.
kick it off with our Captain Mal Reynolds, Nathan Fillion himself, Mr. Captain Tight Pants. Let's play a clip just to get us to know each of these guys.
If I ever kill you, you'll be awake. You'll be facing me, and you'll be armed.
And that's a stand-up captain for you right there. All right. So,
I agree.
This is what I got from the internet. Mal Reynolds is a veteran of the Unification War who fought as a sergeant for the Independents, quote-unquote the Browncoats, against the Alliance. Raised on a ranch on the planet Shadow, look at that connection with you.
Well, no wonder he's
Jeez.
awesome.
Yeah. So raised on the ranch planet, or raised on a ranch on the planet Shadow, the loss of the war and a devastating defeat at Serenity Valley shattered his early ideals, leading him to buy a smuggler ship, the Serenity, and to live off the fringes of civilization.
Yeah.
Now, his backstory and character arc are defined by a few key elements. Early in his life, he was born on September 20th, the year 2486. Mal grew up on a large ranch on the planet Shadow, raised by his independent mother and roughly 40 ranch hands. The Unification War, he enthusiastically volunteered to fight for the independence against the totalitarian alliance. He earned the rank of sergeant and fought in brutal campaigns, including the Battle of Sturgis. Serenity Valley. The defining trauma of his life was the Battle of Serenity Valley on the planet Hera. Despite being promised reinforcements that never arrived, Mal and his platoon held out against impossible alliance numbers until defeat was unavoidable. The loss cost him his faith in both God and organized authority. Life as a captain. Following the war, Mal drifted until he acquired a beat-up 03 K-64 Fire Class transport ship, or should I say Firefly Class transport ship, naming her Serenity as a bitter reminder of his greatest defeat. He gathered a crew of fellow outcasts and surviving browncoats, turning to smuggling, odd jobs, and petty heists to maintain his freedom from the Alliance. So there you go. That's a little overall kind of backdrop on him, in case you forgot some of that, in case you didn't know some of that.
Yeah.
Interesting, eh?
I love it. Yep. And in case for those of you who are like, what's Mal short for? Well, Malays, of course. I mean,
Malays. Yeah. Malcolm Reynolds.
No, that's
yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's that is cool. Thank you for the background.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Yeah, I got something like that for each character. So the first question I want to ask you here, Brian, like, what do we love about Mal as a captain? Because there's so much, and I've often said he is my favorite captain out of every space show I've ever watched. What is it about him that you like? Why do you like him as a captain?
Well, I mean, that quote right there was a pretty, huge portion of it. Is he was very honorable. Ironically, even though he had his moments, but he was an honorable captain. I liked how he would always take care of. How many times did he say, I take care of me and my own, or something like that? Is kind of was his one of his quotes,
Yeah.
And he did that, and he even if he didn't like him, which I thought was always funny sometimes. He'd be like, oh, I can't stand this person, kind of thing, but you're on my ship, so you're going to get taken care of, essentially. I mean, this is me paraphrasing big time, but
yeah.
I've always appreciated kind of how he did that. He is a flawed captain, but likable, which is interesting to me because, Captain Picard, I would say, is probably my favorite captain of all time.
Okay.
But he was so poised, But then you do find out, his history, his flaws, his weaknesses later on in the show. But that's the thing is like, with Mal Reynolds, he's up there too as one of those just, I don't know. It's kind of hard to put my finger on it actually, which is interesting. It's a good question. What about you?
Well, for me, it's kind of similar to what you started with. Like his loyalty to his crew is what really, really sunk it in for me. Because for me in my own life, like loyalty is the biggest virtue, the most important to me that a person should live by. Loyalty to your friends, loyalty to your family, or whoever is important to you. Loyalty against all odds, whether you agree or disagree. It's that loyalty in the end that will keep your relationship strong. So I think,
I agree.
For me, Mal, I mean, we'll talk about it as the show goes on, but I mean, when Jayne betrayed all of them by trying to sell Simon and River, Mal still gave him a chance. He locked him in the airlock, and he's like, basically, this is your last chance to prove yourself to me. And, that great scene. And Jayne was completely scared that he's going to get flushed out the airlock until he said one specific line that Mal's like, all right, that's what I needed to hear. And he let him go, and he let him rejoin the team. Like Mal, and like you said, he always takes care of his own. Like his crew is his family. He doesn't have family. He doesn't go home to mom. He doesn't have a brother or sister out there. It's his crew is his family, and he takes care of them. And we've heard him say quite a few times during the course of the show, "You're part of my crew. What else is there? What else do you need to know? Like, you're on my crew. That's it."
See, and that's a good distinguishing too, because I mentioned Star Trek, of course, with Captain Picard, but it's like their crew was together because chain of command, and that's just the way it is. It's Starfleet, it's loyalty. But in this case, why are they together? Is it whoever gets paid the most kind of thing, or is it whoever gets whoever has the most what's the word, like establishment of fear? Like if you try to leave, I'm going to kill you, kind of thing. But it's not. It is more of that loyalty that's there. And even if Jayne is trying to go, because at one point somebody did. Well, no, I guess he bought him, right? Isn't that how it worked? Like he was running with somebody else, and then like Mal said, "I'll pay you more." And I'm going with him now, or something like that. I'm trying to remember which episode that was, but now he is more loyal.
Out of gas. That was out of gas. We've seen the history of everything. But Mal, he offered him more money, and he said he could get his own bunk because he has to share bunks with the other guy.
So there's no loyalty with Jayne, but then there eventually is.
There eventually is, because the way Mal runs his ship, everybody eventually feels that it's the right place to be.
Yeah.
This is my family. They all become a family. I mean, look at when they sit down for dinner around the table. Like, they're on a spaceship and they're all having dinner together as if it's in the dining room, like one of our houses.
Yeah. Yeah, the only other show that really did that was Dark Matter, where they're all sitting down, having dinner at a table, kind of in a dining room as a family together. Well, I didn't really... A lot of other shows didn't do that.
Dark Matter pays a lot of homage to Firefly. There's obviously fans of Dark Matter. So
yeah, that's great.
And I mean, Star Trek Next Generation did it a little bit, not as often.
But it was more sectioned. They were all like, "Let's go play poker," and there's a couple of that did that, and but it was a little bit different. It wasn't the whole crew getting together necessarily.
Right. And where I think Firefly, like the captain, the crew, where I find it's more relatable than Star Trek. Because Star Trek is a future. It's a hopeful future that maybe we all would like to get to one day, but we're not all part of the military. We're not part of a massive ship like a federation. Serenity and Firefly, like, it feels like something is more attainable. Like, one day I might be able to be on a ship with a small crew and flying around, like, you're just surviving, trying to get away from the government. For me, it just feels more relatable as something I could live that lifestyle more than I could on the Enterprise day.
Yeah. It's interesting. It does more now. When I was growing up watching Star Trek The Next Generation, it felt more relatable than it does now, which is weird to think about. But I mean, culture's changed too. Things have changed.
Yeah, and that's why I say Star Trek is more hopeful to me. That's the future we all hope we get to one day.
Yeah.
Where Serenity or Firefly, I mean, it just looks like if we were to get into space right now, that's the way it would be. It wouldn't be all glorious like Star Trek. So
no, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, so Captain Mal, like, it's just, even right down to the last, in Out of Gas, the last moment when they finally come back to the ship to rescue him, when the ship's running out of oxygen, it's running out of heat, and they find him unconscious, and he comes to in the medical bay there, and the doctor's working on him, and his whole crew is around him. They're all happy that he's alive and he's okay. And then he's getting tired from the sedatives, and he's like, I'm just going to go to sleep. And the doctor's like, yeah, he needs to rest. And he about passes out, and then he wakes up again. He's like, are you all going to be here when I wake up again? Because he's so concerned about his family, his crew. And that moment just makes me cry. I love it.
Love it. I love it.
So we're talking about what we love about him, but the opposing question to that is there any flaws about his leadership that you want to point out where you're like, he kind of needs some work in that area?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think. I mean, it's funny, when I was watching the show last time I did a rewatch, I was like, oh yeah, of course, there's some flaws. There's some, now I can't think of what they were I think when we do the rewatch, I'm going to pull them back out. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it was right there. He's had a few. I mean, he's got a little hothead at times, and I mean, he's got his issues, right? Everybody has their issues, but
he's got some trust issues for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting because his flaws aren't necessarily... I've seen people's flaws. I've seen leaders' flaws that can really destroy things and destroy people.
Yeah.
And I don't don't see that in him as much. He's got flaws, but they're not massive. They're not destructive necessarily. Maybe they are a little bit, but you know what I'm saying? It's not like...
Well, he's not trying to tear somebody down to hurt them or whatever. He's always backing them.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's most leaders today. I love tearing other people down to hurt them. It's weird, but it happens too much. So in some ways, it's like, wow, we need more Mals in our lives.
We do. I mean, I said, I think on our last episode, I would follow Mal to the end of the galaxy for sure. Like he's the kind of captain I would want to follow. I mean, him and Picard, sure, but
sure. But even for the little flaws that they have, that's what I think. That's maybe another thing that I really like about him is that he's more real. He's more relatable as a leader than most so-called leaders today are.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you think about it, he acts like a father or a big brother to Kaylee, you know, and a brother to Jayne, and you know him, and like there's just a familial type of relationship with a lot of these people.
Yeah, and I really even do like how there was that connection finally between Mal and River in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
That wasn't
big
there
brother,
before
little
that.
sister, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It eventually gets to that. So, I don't know. Flaws for Captain Mal. I mean, sometimes maybe he trusts a little too much because it's gotten them into trouble when he trusts a little too much. And that's when Zoe usually has to step in and, you know, be like his second set of eyes. Captain, I don't think we should do that. Like, when we get to Zoe, we'll talk a little bit about that. But I think for Mal, he sometimes trusts a little too easily would be maybe the one flaw I could actually pick out for him.
Yeah, I guess. Although, you know, thinking of like our Mrs. Jayne or whatever. No, our Mrs.
Reynolds. Yeah.
Reynolds. Sorry, yeah, there we go. Our Mrs. Our Mrs. Reynolds. I don't know why I was thinking Jayne. I think in Janestown. I just, I'm so excited for that. I don't know.
Yeah,
that was the funniest place. No, our Mrs. Reynolds though, he didn't really trust her. I think he got drunk and maybe even a little drugged in that whole situation, and so that's kind of where. Yeah. Like he never really trusted her. Yeah. You know. Although then I don't know.
But I mean, when she got him back to his private quarters, I mean, he was a little. He's like, I haven't seen skin in a long time.
It's true, you know.
Or what was the famous line? Nobody's grabbed a hold of my plow but me. I love it.
Oh gosh!
I'll have to find that quote for the board here.
The twixing of nethers. I mean, I'm trying to think of all those funny little quotes. You're like, well, nobody uses that. Those were
also, what's great about the dialogue in this show because they mix the English with the Chinese but they made it. It's like country folk English. You know, it's not. It's not.
Yeah, totally.
You know, educated English. It's just funny. So.
Yeah.
Well, talking about Mel and his crew, like why is the crew, because we talk about they all eventually are so loyal to him, so it eventually gets turned back on him. He shows them so much loyalty and trust in them, but why is it that they end up being so loyal to him? It's because of the way he protects them, the way he leads them like a family. Like there's, you know, Zoe is like undyingly loyal to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so where does that come from? What is it about his leadership that just gets these people to fall in line and be his, you know, be his crew without question?
Yeah, I think I've already answered my thoughts on that earlier when we were talking about what we liked about him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it does make sense because I'm sure, like I said, there's not a lot of loyalty in that world. So,
no,
you know, the fact that he does get their backs and show them loyalty and care about them, and it is that family. I mean, that's what I would be like. Oh, yeah, I'm loyal to him for that reason.
Well, I guess you got to put it in context where they are. Like, if you think about them, they're out in space on this little ship, and they're flying from planet to planet. All they really have is each other. So if they don't have each other's backs, if they're not loyal to each other, what are they going to do? Like, they're going to be left adrift. They're going to be left on a barren planet with nowhere to go. Like, it's kind of like their situation kind of almost forces them to have to stick together, because otherwise it's a lot worse if they don't. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, can you think of, I mean, out of the 14 episodes and the movie, can you think of a most memorable moment for Captain Mal? Like, what to you sticks out the most? Like, oh my God, that was my favorite thing that he did or said. Or
he's done so many things. That's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, really, but it's so funny because like one of my favorite reactions that he had was in the movie when River gets like turned on when they're in the bar,
in the restaurant bar there, yeah,
in the restaurant bar, and she gets switched on and like just basically takes everybody out, and he's just literally standing there with his like mouth wide open. He's like, you know her? I honestly don't.
Yeah.
You know? Like that was still one of my favorite places. Like, so yeah, but he's done so many good, memorable things, and I still think I've mentioned this before. Out of Gas is probably still my favorite episode, and
yeah, it's my favorite.
I don't know. I think I do think that you brought it up too. The whole Jayne scene in the airlock, you know, where Mal's getting ready to space him.
Yeah.
But then that whole thing was pretty amazing too. Even though you're kind of like, wait, is it going to kill him? What's it going to do? But it was just kind of a really cool moment. So I don't know. There's a lot of situations.
That scene was so intense because we've never seen Mal that pissed before, and he was angry.
Yeah.
And you know, he's just got that little window that he's talking through, and he looks, you stabbed the crew in the back, you stabbed me, and he's mad.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa,
yeah.
Okay. You know, that gave me a lot of respect.
You really saw his leadership step up pretty heavily there.
Yeah.
For like backing his entire crew. Kind of like, this is what you're going to do. You're not going to mess with me. You're not going to mess with the crew. Suck it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, totally.
And I was like, oh, and I don't think Jayne ever questioned him again.
No. That not only put Jayne in line, but I think that gave Jayne found a whole new respect for Mal, because I don't think Jayne didn't really respect Mal up to that point, because they always argued a lot about who would lead the crew better,
True.
and who's the better captain.
True.
Jayne always thought he could do a better job, but I think that moment put Jayne in line. He's like, oh, you know what? I need to follow this guy and quit battling with him. Yeah, so that's a great moment. I mean, that's a good one. Another one I think of is in the episode where Wash and him are captured by Niska, and they're being tortured. Like, the amount of pain that he goes through, and he does it to keep Wash alive. Like, he keeps trying to get Niska to stay focused on him because he knows Wash can't handle it. I mean, that is the mark of a leader right there. Like, my soldier cannot survive this. I need to take on everything.
Yeah.
To the point where he actually dies. Like, Niska actually kills him, and they revive him. You know, because Niska's like, oh, you can't die that early. I'm not finished with you yet,
What do you
right?
think you're doing? Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and he gets his ear cut off, and, you know, when the crew comes to rescue them, and they save Wash and leave him there, and he still continues to get tortured more. I mean, that whole sequence just blew me away, that even under the most extreme pain, torture, fear, and even dying, Mal still kept it together as a leader and protected his crew. Like, it just blew me away.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, that's crazy. What let's look to the future a little bit with this animated show coming, where it's going to continue right on as if it's episode 15 and 16. What could be next for his story? The way the series ended, you know, him and River kind of fooled that assassin that was on their ship, and, you know, they kind of had a little bit of a bonding moment there. And where could his story go next? Because we know Inara left the ship. She wasn't really there in the last episode, and I don't know. What do you think they could do with him? What could his story be going forward now, continuing from where it left off?
I don't know, because I mean, it's hard to imagine now from going from, you know, the end of the show to the movie, and you already know kind of what happens there and stuff. Yeah,
so we have to fill in the gap between the two.
Exactly. So I know, and I think it's hard to do that. So I think, well, here's what I'd like to see.
Sure. Yeah, what you like to see.
I'd like to see him, you know, you mentioned this, like, his struggle essentially with, like, authority and God and, you know, faith in people and stuff like that. He's had that struggle because of what he saw.
Yeah.
So I would love to see that tension between Mal and Shepard Book. I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see some of that develop, because I mean, to see him go from, like, essentially, like I mentioned, he hated River to, oh, now he's fine with River. Well, what happened? What changed? What changed in Mal to be able to come to that point, you know? I'd like to see him continue to develop as a stronger leader and stuff like that, continue to be a better captain and stuff. As far as, like, his story in general, I don't know. I think I want to see a lot more with the development of with the other characters, you know, his relationship with the other characters. I would love to see more about his backstory. So those are the things I want to see. I don't know if that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of story angles that could continue for him. Like you said, his relationship to every character or every person on his crew. But for his personal story, I mean, he's got this hatred for the Alliance, and we know the Alliance are always after him. Could there be more there? Could they have more run-ins with the Alliance? Is there?
I hope so.
You know, like we know he was a sergeant in the war. Like, could we have more of those stories? Does he run into more browncoat leaders that, you know, maybe he fought with or something, and we could see some old bonds get rekindled or something like that? Like,
yeah,
I think there's some great stories there for him. You know, and I mean the main story of the whole show was they're trying to save River from the Alliance, and there's a relationship between him and Simon as well. Like, you know, when he first finds out that they're fugitives, he's like, get the hell off my ship. But then when he realizes how valuable they both are, no, you're part of my crew now. So I think there could be more development there for sure. Is finding out, you know, how to best protect Simon and River and stop the Alliance from coming after him. That there's just, I mean,
yeah,
they had every episode of the show had a story in it that could be continued.
Yeah,
you know, like how does Mel keep finding jobs and making money and, you know, whatever. Because what was that one episode when they got betrayed by the person who hired them? The little old lady, I can't remember her name, where he ends up on the planet and he's got her at gunpoint. You know, he's like, I did the job and I get paid. You know, and he's lucky he leaves her alive. Like, you know, he's got so many things like that where like I said, he trusts sometimes a little too much. Well, he trusted that woman, got them into deep cow doo-doo on the mission. So, I don't know. I think Malik, he's so fascinating as a captain and as a character. There's, you know, and you said like his relationship with Book, that whole you're going to a special place in hell. Like, I mean, that's such a great, you know, relationship kind of building block for them, because Book is keeping him held to a higher purpose, and Mal has been dancing around the, you know, the gray areas for quite a while. So it's an interesting relationship for sure. Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to Zoe. Let's talk about Gina Torres as Zoe Washburn, who her full name is actually Zoe Aline Washburn. I think I got a quote for here. Do I got a Zoe quote in here?
Gotta have a Zoe quote.
Oh, well, it's this one.
I know it's a difficult mission, but you and I have to get it on.
I understand. We have no choice. Take me, sir. Take me hard.
One of the best. I know I've played that one
deadpan.
before. Oh my God! But
I forgot it was so good.
So Zoe Aline Washburn is a veteran of the Unification War and the fiercely loyal first mate of Serenity. Born on a spaceship in 2484, she enlisted in the Independence Army, the Browncoats. She served in the 57th Overlanders Brigade, fighting in the war's bloodiest conflicts alongside Sergeant Malcolm Reynolds. Her defining life events and character journey include the Battle of Serenity Valley. Zoe and Mal were the only survivors of their platoon following a brutal 7-week siege. Left behind in the aftermath of the war, they survived in the wilderness for 2 weeks before being placed into Alliance internment camps. The Dust Devils. After her release from the camp, Zoe joined the Dust Devils, a faction of browncoat holdouts who continued fighting as guerrilla rebels after the official surrender. Oh, see, I didn't know that. Aboard the Serenity, eventually concluding the war was truly lost, she left their rebellion to reunite with Mal. The two pooled their resources to buy a Firefly Class ship, the Serenity, with Zoe taking the role of first mate to help her captain stay beyond the reach of the Alliance. Her marriage to Wash. Despite her stoic, military-focused nature, she fell in love and married the ship's pilot, Hoban Wash Washburn. Their romance remained a grounding, loving force in the crew's chaotic life.
And you want to know something about that's interesting is TV shows love to mess with marriages and relationships because they become, quote, boring according to what they think. And so they've just got to have all this drama and tension.
Yeah.
And you want to know what? They really, I mean, maybe aside from a couple things, they really didn't. And I loved that. Let it be a strong grounding force for the entire show and don't mess with it.
Yeah. And I mean, we got to witness them have marriage problems on the show. Like they're back to that episode when Mal and Wash get captured. That was that was the result of Wash being upset that she's always going on away mission. She's always putting her life in danger. That's his wife. So he's like, you know what? I'm the man in this marriage, I'm going to go on a mission and put myself in danger and protect you. And she's like, all right, fine. And look what happens. Like, they get caught, and he's like, because I love the line. He's like, you always come back with stories, the stories of war.
I want stories.
I want a story to tell. Well, guess what? You got a good one to tell now.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's what I love, though, is that even though there were, because every marriage has tensions, right? Every relationship does. So I liked that they had that, but that it wasn't just like, oh no, we're going to go into this, multi-episode drama where they're just that, we're gonna separate. It's like, no. Yeah. They fought through it. They kept going. It was a good. I liked it.
It was good. So my first question for Zoe is, why is she the best number one that we've ever seen? At least for me, I'm calling her the best number one. She's my favorite.
Okay, you'll have to answer that because she's not my favorite. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, because the only other number one I know is Riker,
offense, Zoe.
Of course. But for me, again, it comes back to the loyalty. Like, I have never seen anybody be so loyal to their captain. I mean, even Riker questioned Picard at times and went against his orders at times.
But he was pretty dang loyal.
He was loyal, but there was sometimes like Zoe, and maybe it's not because Zoe did question Mal. Maybe that's the wrong way to word it. Zoe was so loyal, like she had her captain's back no matter what. Even if she disagreed with him, she's like, all right, I'll go through with this with you, but I just know that I'm warning you, there's this, and this we got to watch out for, but I got your back. And she's in there, and she had his back no matter what. And again, it comes back to loyalty, why loyalty is so important to me. I just loved her for that. I loved her undying resilience in sticking with her captain. I mean, so much so that she would get into arguments with her husband because she's taking the captain's side over his. Like, you don't get much more loyal than that.
Yeah, and I think that's the military. You get into the military, and people become loyal for life most of the time. I mean, maybe not all the time. I don't know, but I feel like most of the time that really happens. And so, you do see that you're living in battles together. You're living in tough situations, and so, that's, I think, something that does create unwavering loyalty for life in those situations. And so,
band of brothers kind of thing, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And so that not only does it make her incredibly loyal to Mal, but it also makes her a really good number one for him.
Yeah, because he needs that. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, yeah. No, and she really is the perfect number one for him, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, the stuff that they survive together, it's crazy. Like,
yeah.
and she's also, I mean, she's tough as nails. My God, she's probably the best fighter on the team, hand to hand.
But you said it though. I loved how like she's ridiculously tough and insane, but still like
sensual.
Is it vulnerable? Maybe with Wash and other things. Like she wasn't. We see this a lot with the female empowered characters these days. They're just unrealistic. Right. Whereas she's not. She's a very realistic, woman leader, but also, married and still vulnerable and still has her whatever needs or whatever that is, and it's like, and I liked that. I like the fact that they made her a realistic type of person. I mean, kind of, we've said this before about, Ripley in Alien. It's like, she's a strong, badass woman, but she's a very realistic one.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that, I think that's another reason I liked Zoe so much too, is that you do like resonate like this. She's real.
She's real. Like, I mean, there's that scene you reminded me when you were talking, there's that scene when Wash is talking to Mal up on the bridge, and Zoe comes in and she goes, sorry, sir, I need to take this man so he can rip all my clothes off. And Wash is like, work.
Yeah.
I mean, she's, I mean, there's a lot of little sensual moments between the two of them that really grounded her and made her feel like a real woman. She's tough as nails when she needs to be, but she's got her softer side. I mean, there's that episode when she's arguing with Wash about wanting to have a baby. She's like, you and me would make a beautiful baby. And he's like, I don't know, it's a dangerous universe. And she's like, I don't care, we're having a kid. Like, she put her foot down, like, no matter what's happening, you're giving me a baby. And that was it. Like, and it's just, again, just real life discussions with this couple. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, and we already talked about her loyalty to Mal. Like, it all comes from the military and stuff like that. So is there anything that we think she would need to work on? Like, is there any flaws with her character, with her personality? Like, it's a tough question to answer, I think, for any of these people when you look at them. But I think maybe she could soften up a little bit more because she's pretty tough around the crew. Like, she doesn't really show the crew a lot of her softer side. She's pretty
true,
but that's her job as a first officer. That's her job, is to keep everybody in line. So it kind of makes sense, I guess.
I think it'd be interesting if they did have her relate to the crew a little bit more with the new series.
Yeah,
kind of like she's still the tough first officer, and you will follow her. But also, we can relate to her now too. Like the crew's saying that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's a tough one otherwise.
Do you have a memorable moment for her? Me, like there's cat's getting in the way here. 1 second.
Yeah. Wants to be a part of the show.
She wants to be part of the show, but she's like right up in the camera.
Yeah.
It's not so much a character moment, but that in the beginning of Out of Gas, when the ship first blows that component, she's standing at the foot of the dining table, and the explosion that comes down the hallway sends her flying through the table all the way across the room and knocks her out. I was like, holy crap. Like, what just happened to Zoe? Like, in the moment, the first time watching, you think she just died. Like, that was an insane moment. And that's what kind of kicked off the whole seriousness of that episode. And but I mean, she's had so many memorable moments. Like I said, I've already mentioned a couple of them, but to me, that just always sticks in my mind when she got that explosion sends her flying. I was like, crap. I mean, that even just as a filmmaking perspective, that's a hell of a stunt to perform. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. There's a lot of things with Zoe. She's amazing. One thing that I always laugh at, and a lot of people talk about, is what is her attraction to Wash? Why Wash? Like, they're not
I've
a
wondered
match.
that too. Yeah, right? It actually doesn't seem to work. That's what's funny. It works, but it doesn't seem like it should.
Looking at the two characters separately, you're like, these two would never be together.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe that's why that worked. I mean,
yeah. Well, even in the flashbacks, when you look at the flashbacks when they first met, she hates him. Like
true.
Captain Mal's like, he's a perfect captain. He's the perfect pilot. Like, everybody's after him. We get to have him, and she's like, I don't care. I hate him. But why? He's the best. I don't care. I hate him. There's something about him.
That's something that I want them to show, is how they actually came to that point where they got together. Because that is something. You're right. It's just kind of like, well, I hated him. Now we're together. Like, what happened?
Where did the romance first spark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what?
That'd be fun.
Sometimes mystery is better, but it would be kind of a fun storyline to hear.
It'd be a fun back. I mean, it's an animation, so they could easily show us flashbacks. No problem.
Totally. Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
I love it.
All right, well, let's move on to, you already mentioned it, Mr. Jayne himself.
Well, looks can be deceiving.
Not as deceiving as a low-down, dirty deceiver.
Well said. Wasn't that well said, Zoe?
Had a kind of poetry to it, sir.
Daggum.
All right.
It really did.
He did, yep. Jayne Cobb is the crew's hired muscle, characterized by his pragmatism, I can't say that word, pragmatism, love of heavy firepower, and a complex morality that leans towards self-preservation. Though seemingly thuggish, his sharp survival instincts and occasional flashes of unexpected loyalty prove he is far more perceptive and nuanced than he appears. Key details of his background. His early life. He was raised on the moon of Sycorax, or Caliban by its other name. Jayne often sends a large portion of his earnings to his mother to take care of his family. He views his life as a mercenary, as a way of escaping the mundane background. See how, I mean, that's a nice thing right there. Jayne sends money to take care of his mom. Like, come on. He's a big mama's boy.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Joining the crew, Jayne fought on neither side during the Unification War, instead working as an independent bandit and a hired gun. Captain Mal Reynolds and Zoe Washburn met Jayne when his gang attempted to rob them. Mal offered Jayne a larger cut of his heist, his own bunk, and more respect than he was getting from this current crew.
There it is.
Without hesitation, Jayne shot his own companion to join the Serenity, famously asking Mal, "How big is my room?" The hero of Canton, Jayne gained an accidental Robin Hood-like reputation on Higgins Moon. Years earlier, he and partner Stitch Hessian had robbed Magistrate Higgins. During their escape, Jayne's ship was overloaded. He dumped the stolen cash to lighten the load, thereby distributing wealth to the oppressed workers below, but only after first throwing his partner out of the airlock. The workers built a statue in his honor and sang the Ballad of Jayne Cobb, much to Jayne's
so
deep
good.
discomfort. And that's what that
I love
episode's
that song.
all about. Yep. Moral evolution. Although frequently willing to sell out the crew for the right price, Jayne's loyalty deepens throughout the series. His fierce protectiveness of the crew, especially Kaylee, coupled with the guilt he experiences after briefly betraying Simon and River Tam, marks his slow development from a selfish mercenary into an incredibly loyal member of the crew.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I forgot about that. His loyalty, his protectiveness of Kaylee, because I think he sees Kaylee like a little sister.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Because there was that scene, if you remember, when Kaylee gets shot and she's on the medical bed and Simon's working on her. Jayne's outside the window, hunched over, and he's just like chewing his nails because he's so worried about whether she's going to make it or not.
Yeah.
He's the only one. Nobody else is waiting. He's the one that's waiting outside the surgery room there. So yeah,
Interesting.
very loyal to him. So my question for you is, he's a love-hate type of character. Where do you land? Do you love him? Do you hate him? Or did you hate him in the beginning and then end up loving him? Why is he such a love-hate type of character? Because you could fall on either side, or you end up switching how you feel for him throughout the show.
I love him. I think I always he was one of my favorite characters in the show. And what's funny about it is that I always saw through the tough exterior, the whole, because like you were, I didn't know the whole backstory of that, with his mom and everything like that. But the tough exterior, the whole, disloyalty, whatever. I'm going to do whatever I feel like, acting kind of like an idiot half the time, even though he was a lot smarter than he acted.
Then you let on, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was not necessarily an educated man, but he was a very street smarts kind of person. So that was interesting. But no, I really liked him. And it was one of those, if you could just crack his shell, you could really understand him.
Yeah.
I feel like I would have been friends with him.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, just one of those guys that I would have just been like, nah, we're going to be friends. We might, point guns at each other periodically, but we're going to be friends.
Even
so
if
yeah,
he
I
has
love
to torture you a little bit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What
about you?
He likes dishing out pain. He likes, I mean, I thought he was so funny early on, but watching the show for the first time, when it gets to that episode Ariel, when he does betray Simon and River and tries to sell them back to the Alliance, that moment, my first time through, I was like, oh my God, I kind of saw this coming, but I didn't think he would go through with it. And then he goes through with it. I'm like, Jayne, you a-hole. And I hated him for that moment until he redeemed himself at the very end. And then in the next little bit of the next episode, I legitimately was like, oh my God, I hate this guy now. How dare you betray the crew like that? The first time through, it hit hard. It hurt to see that one of them would betray him. But it also is such, it's an ode to the writing of the show. That's so good, because you can't have a show where the entire crew is just perfect, happy, joy all the time. You've got to have things like this happen, because again, it makes it real. It makes it, sometimes this stuff is going to happen, and not everybody is going to be perfect. And that, so it really changed my view of him. But then, in subsequent years, watching the show over and over, it didn't matter. I ended up loving him all the way through, because I know where he ends up.
Yeah, and I think that episode, you're right. The first time I saw it too, I was really upset at him too. But then it spoke a little bit to his pain of where he was, and the fact that everybody betrayed him. You find that out later. And so that's why he betrayed the crew. No one's ever looking out for me, so I better just take care of myself and, get out while I can, kind of thing. Yeah. And I think once you understand that, then you really start to realize that makes sense now why he did this. It was wrong, and obviously he paid for it, which was good. Yeah. I liked, again, that goes back to the airlock scene. I liked that scene because he learned his lesson. And he really did too, because then I feel like since that time, he was for the most part loyal. And I think by Serenity, he was, as far as I can remember in Serenity, he was fairly completely loyal. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I can't think of anything that he did in Serenity that would have made me think he's.
No, I think by then he's full on loyal. He's the muscle of the team, and that's it. But like you were saying, his whole morality center leans towards self-preservation, because he's had nobody to trust or nobody to rely on. So it's self-preservation. So once he has a family around him, it allows him to finally open up and be like, okay, this is my team, and I'm going to stick with them.
Yep.
So a lot of growth for him, for sure.
Yep.
And I mean, just speaking of him, like what attributes about him make him so valuable? I mean, yeah, he's the muscle, he's the guns.
Oh, yeah.
But like you said, he's got a
weapons expert,
street smarts type of mentality. Like he just understands and he sees things that other people don't see.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah,
he really is very perceptive, and does pay attention to what's going on, sees things before, like you said.
Yeah.
And he's looking out for stuff. I think he's a little bit more paranoid than the rest of the crew, so he's always looking for trouble.
Yeah.
And sometimes he finds it, so but even what you said about his protection of Kaylee is definitely very intense. And so that's another thing, is that for those that he is finally becoming loyal to, he becomes like intensely protective. Yeah. Which is it's a great person to have on the crew.
Oh, it is. And I mean, there's a couple of those moments. I love that. I think it was in the same episode, Ariel, when one of the Alliance guys is coming after him, and he clotheslines him as the guy's running by. He clotheslines him, and then as the guy's flipping, he grabs his feet out of the air and just slams his head to the ground. It's like
power bomb.
Yeah, that was an awesome move. I've never seen that move before. That was cool. I mean, and trying to think of memorable moments of Jayne. I think for every character, there's not going to be just one, but obviously the one with him and Mal in the airlock, that's probably the most memorable moment for him. But I mean, Janestown, when he's hiding from the town and everybody's singing this song and he doesn't want, he's so embarrassed.
That's his episode.
Yeah. But the other one that I love is when Simon, and I think I've got the clip here for later, when Simon has him, like when Jayne gets hurt and Simon's got him on the operating table. He injected him with something. His whole body's paralyzed. And Simon's sitting there just threatening him, and he's like, help.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, and he's completely, I mean, that was a great Jayne moment as well.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorites is still his love for Vera. I mean, I know I've mentioned this on the show before, but it's just, it is so funny, though, the way they did that. Like, you just didn't see that very much. You know, it's funny. You think about Han Solo and his blaster.
Yeah.
And I think fans made that out to be more of an issue than it really was in the story. But, man, they did this with Jayne and Vera. It was, yeah.
Oh, he romanticized that.
That's the thing. And I feel like more people should be doing that in different shows, like with a lightsaber or whatever, a specific phaser that you love, or, something, a sword.
Yeah. Oh, like this you're talking about?
Exactly. Yeah. Boy, that's nice. That's a fantastic gun right there. I need to get myself my hands. Yeah.
For those listening to the show, I've got a replica of Mal's pistol in my hands right now. So it's a ceramic replica. It's pretty nice. Pretty cool.
I can't wait to wrap my hands around that too.
Careful, it's the family show, Brad.
The gun.
So Jayne, where could they take his story? Like what? We saw him grow so much in this show, but I think what they could do with him is just continue that growth, where he's not so much the dumb muscle. He becomes valuable muscle where they can actually trust him to lead a mission, because they kind of played with it a little bit, where they let him take point, and he does pretty good. But I think they need to give him more of that, where Jayne, maybe you've been to this planet before, this area. How about you take the lead?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that's something they could just easily continue. It's just continue his continued growth to becoming less of a dumb muscle and more of a respectable muscle,
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be interesting to see more tactics as well, like what you're talking about too, but also like weapon tactics and things that he could bring into the picture on that one too. I know he kind of gets all freaked out about the Reavers too, so it'll be interesting to see his story with that.
Yeah, you're right. He was actually scared in that Reaver episode. Was that episode 2 or 3? He was actually really scared. Didn't even want to go aboard the ship. Yeah. So where does that come from?
Yeah, exactly. So I honestly, I want more backstory, because the only backstory we really got was the Janestown one. We don't really know much more about him.
Which is just a little bit. You're right.
Yeah, and it's only really about the slight previous life. But when you mention the whole thing about what he's doing for his mom and his family and all that, it's kind of like, his mundane background. It's like, well, why did he have a mundane background? And why would you be like, I'm just looking for some excitement, I guess, or something?
Yeah.
What else is driving him, I want to know.
I don't know. But I think you're right. I think for every character, just getting more background would be great to see, just to see where they came from. Because in animation, we don't have to worry about making the actors look younger. We can just get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And see it. So I think that'd be fantastic to see. see his relationship with his mom. I think that would be an interesting thing for the type of character we know Jayne to be, to see him with his mom. Because I mean, she sends him a knitted hat, and he loves it. He loves his mom, so it'd be so fun to see him be all, the little boy with his mama.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be kind of funny. All right, let's move on to the ship's mechanic, Miss Kaylee, and we've got a great Kaylee clip here.
People, they've all got stories.
Yeah, can you stop from being cheerful, please?
I don't believe there's power in the verse. Stop Kaylee from being cheerful. Sometimes you just want to duct tape her mouth and dump her in the hold for a month.
I love my captain.
All right, Kaylee Fry, the optimistic and brilliant mechanic of Serenity. She grew up in poverty on the remote outer rim world of Kowloonchi. Kowloonchi, yeah. Raised by a local mechanic father, she developed an innate intuitive gift for understanding machines and starship engines without any formal training. Her life changed completely when Serenity Captain Mal Reynolds walked in on her having an intimate moment in the engine room with the ship's then mechanic, Bester. When Bester blamed the ship's mechanical failure on a part that couldn't be fixed, Kaylee immediately diagnosed and repaired the grounded vessel. Impressed by her raw talent, Mal fired Bester on the spot and hired Kaylee as Serenity's chief engineer. She eagerly abandoned her life on the frontier for a spot on the crew, where she quickly became the cheerful little sister to everybody aboard. Her backstory includes several defining traits and historical beats. The engine whisperer. Kaylee has a rare, almost magical ability to hear what machines need, often personifying her beloved ship and taking personal offense if anyone insults it. Naive but the heart of the crew, because of her sheltered small-town upbringing, she is often naive to the harsh realities and dangers of the black, acting as the moral center and radiant sunshine of the ship. So there you go. A little bit on Kaylee Fry. So grew up in poverty with just her father. See, a little bit of backstory we didn't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
she
why...
does kind of bring that, you hear little bits and pieces, I guess, of that, where they're...
You do, yeah.
I mean, clearly she's always talking about the fancy people, like she clearly never lived that life and stuff, so.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. But that's nice to see that backstory.
But I mean, our introduction to her, in Out of Gas, when we see the background, she's obviously not protected, like she's not sheltered, because our first meeting of her in the backstory, she's naked getting it on with the mechanic, so, she's not that innocent.
Yeah, no. She's just such a fun character, I've always liked Kaylee. It is kind of that, well, it's funny you said that, not that innocent, but yet she kind of acts innocent sometimes. So it's kind of that like half innocence, half, not innocence anymore. But one thing I hope they don't do with her is take away that joyful, radiant sunshine, like semi-naive kind of, thing. Yeah. I hope they don't take that away. I really don't, because I think that would ruin her character, because that is one of the things that I think is so wonderful about her, is that everyone else is so battle hardened and, they've got all these issues, and she's just the happy-go-lucky, whatever, everything she's, she gets on, she's like, wow, everything's so shiny to her. Everything's, a new marvel. It's a new excitement, a new experience. And so
she finds pleasure in everything.
Yeah. I just love it. And she's always seeing the best in people too. So I mean, there's so many things about Kaylee that I really like, actually, when it comes to that. And so I'm just gonna answer all this in one question, but like, that's why I love her so much. But also, like, where does she need to grow? Well, she needs to be a little less naive at times. Where she needs to kind of pay attention a little bit more. Just to make sure she doesn't get herself into trouble. So other than that, though, she's an amazing mechanic. She's got a lot of amazing intuition. It's really cool. So those are my two positives and negatives about her.
Yeah, well, and I'm right with you. Like, the little sister of the crew is exactly how you feel about her. Like, you want to protect her like she's your little sister. She just has that huggable nature to her. You're like, oh my, like, we love you, Kaylee, just like she loves her captain. Like, she gives everybody a chance, no matter what. She doesn't judge anybody. She understands there's a story and a reason to the way everybody is, and she always wants to learn about people and understand them. And even though she came from such a small, sheltered town, she seems to understand a lot as well, because, you look at the relationship with her and Simon that are developing. Like, Simon's a complete stick a foot in his mouth type of character, and she's teaching him how he needs to be in a burgeoning relationship. Like she's got life experience, even though she seems naive. she also has life experience in the way she handles a lot of situations. And I also like about her, she's so calm. Like in that train job episode, when they're setting up to rob the train and everything, like she's so calm under pressure. Like it's just second nature. Whatever, just robbing a train. Simon's all panicking and stuff, and
yeah.
So
yeah,
she's so sweet. She's just so sweet.
Yeah.
And when you think of the episode when it's the last episode, when that assassin gets on board the ship, and he comes to the engine room, and he takes Kaylee down, like he ties her up, and he's got her held hostage, and he's like threatening her with all the amount of torture that he's going to do to her when he comes back. And you can't help but feel for her. Like you wanted to get in there and protect her, because she's crying, she's quivering, she's scared for her life in that moment, because she's never faced anything like that before. You know, this evil man breaks onto their ship, and he's got her tied up, and he's like, I'm going to cut you and rape you and do all these things to you that you've never experienced.
Yeah.
I mean, it was dark what she went through with him, and I think because that was the last episode, I'm assuming what we're going to go with the story forward for her is she's probably going to have to deal with some trauma from that.
Yeah.
Because that's not an easy thing to go through.
Yeah. But we do know that in Serenity she regains the joy, so it'll be a little bit of an interesting journey to that point again.
Yeah, because
that'll be good.
Remember when I think one of the first episode I had you on, we found out that there's about 9 months between the last episode and Serenity. So in that 9-month gap, there's obviously, I'm assuming she would have to deal with the trauma of that.
Which would be something that they really do need to go in, future episodes.
Yeah.
That's something they need to deal with. Absolutely. Yeah. So no, it might not be a lot of fun to see Kaylee in that state, but it would be, no pun intended, Jewel. But just at the same time, sorry, that was bad. That would be something I feel like they need to do, and it would be okay, and for her to actually regain her joy and that sunshine, like we're calling it, that would be kind of a meaningful situation, actually.
Well, it'd be great for her. It'd be a great story for women to show that you can suffer great tragedy, but you can get through it. You can overcome it and get back to yourself.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a great story arc for her.
It would be.
Because she's a strong character.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm also curious to see more of what she does with the actual ship itself. Because I feel like she's kind of she literally keeps Serenity going, obviously, but it's like, I just want to see what she does, what advancents she can do.
Modifications.
Upgrades, exactly. I am kind of curious to see, because, we got to see that with Geordi, and
all
Scotty.
the time.
It's like all the engineers, on Star Trek, it's like, man, we got to see this with Kaylee now.
Yeah. Like, what if they happen to get a really rich payoff? What can she do? Because throughout the course of the show, they're always running on fumes, basically. And parts are dying and breaking, and she's like, Captain, we need this, or we're going to be dead in the water or dead in the black.
Yeah.
So I'd love...
And this goes for Kaylee and also Wash, but when they go from the mule to that thing, and I can't remember the name of it in Serenity, where it's that actual flying thing that they get. The little shuttle thing.
Yeah.
I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me, but like, when did they get that? And what's the transition? And when does the mule die? And, so like, I kind of want, because that kind of goes for both of those two characters, pilot / engineer, like what do they do? And that'll be fun.
That'll be so much fun. Much fun. Well, let's move on to her love interest, Mr. Simon Tam.
Yes. All right.
So, what are we doing?
Oh, crime.
Crime. Good. Okay, crime.
Gotta love Simon Tam. So, Dr. Simon Tam gave up a life of extraordinary wealth and prestigious medical career on the core world of Osiris to become a fugitive. He sacrificed everything to rescue his violently experimented on younger sister River from a secret Alliance academy, dedicating his life to protecting her aboard the Serenity. Early life and career. A privileged upbringing. Simon and River were raised on Osiris, a wealthy and highly civilized central world, as part of the elite Tam family. Medical prodigy, Simon was incredibly gifted, graduating in the top 3% of his medical class and completing his residency in record time. His talent and status allowed him to amass a significant personal fortune as a top trauma surgeon. The breakout. The Alliance Academy, his younger sister River, was a child prodigy even smarter than Simon. She was quietly recruited by the Alliance to attend a secretive government-run academy. Simon's parents turned a blind eye to what was actually happening, but Simon eventually discovered that the academy was subjecting River to horrific, mind-altering experiments. Using his personal fortune and connections, he spent 2 years planning a massive operation to break her out. He succeeded in extracting her from the academy, but doing so made him an enemy of the Alliance. Joining Serenity because of the bounty on their heads, Simon hired passage on Captain Mal Reynolds' Firefly Class transport ship, the Serenity. Simon initially appeared to be an out-of-place rich boy, but he steadily proved his loyalty by acting as the ship's trauma doctor and doing everything in his power to keep River safe and rehabilitate her mind. So that's a little backstory, but plus the story of what we've seen him go over the course of the show and the movie, for sure. Because the opening sequence of the movie basically shows us that breakout.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, Simon's another kind of love him, hate him character because he can be so frustrating at times. But why is that true? Why does he frustrate us so much sometimes?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was thinking about this too, about the, do I really like him or, I mean, I feel like I'm a little bit more indifferent towards his character.
Okay.
But then again, like we've talked about this as after more rewatches, I liked him more.
Right.
I never hated him. I totally understand that the reason he's being so frustrating, in my opinion, is because he's protecting his sister at all costs and because everybody has proven that, Simon can't trust anyone, essentially. Someone's going to come after River. Someone's going to sell him out. And then, of course, Jayne proves that. And so I would probably be kind of annoying like that, too, if I was trying to protect my sister and realizing that at any moment they could get given up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So also, he's a extra smart, insatiable know-it-all.
He's a stuck-up, snotty rich boy.
And that too, yep.
Yeah.
And people like that do tend to be kind of hard to get along with.
Yeah. and it came out a lot in the show. But, we saw him get his hands dirty a little bit. Eventually, he was slowly working towards that. So, I mean, that leads...
he does. He softens up.
Yeah. And that leads right into my other questions, like where can he grow as a character? Well, he needs to learn a lot. And I think living with this crew will teach him.
Yeah.
Living out in the black, living on the edge, he's not going to have the luxuries that he's used to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's going to have to dirty his hands. And we see it like that scene we mentioned when he's got Jayne under the knife. Like, we saw that growth in him already, where he's starting to act more like, a criminal in a sense.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
I think that's great for him. He was a very frustrating character to watch because he was all snooty, hoity-toity, and that bothers me too in real life. So I was always like, I don't know about this guy, but I appreciated his love for his sister, like his undying love for his sister. Like that's a powerful bond that not a lot of, like, I don't have any brothers or sisters myself. I have 2 half brothers, but I haven't talked to them in 30 years. So I've always envied people having a super close sibling bond like that. And they only had each other for a long time. Yeah. So I just loved it.
I also think that most siblings never experience that level of loyalty and that intensity either, because, I mean, look how difficult River was to take care of and to work with and to live with. And that, I mean, not necessarily because of her fault. It's just, what they did to her and the torture and the trauma that she had. And it's like, the fact that he was able to overcome that, I mean, that's hard to be a caregiver, regardless.
It is.
I mean, you talk about like aging parents and stuff like that, and how hard it is to be the caregiver, and they even say that in some ways the caregiver actually has more, what's the word? Like more exhaustion and more is put on them than the actual patient themselves. In that sense, and so, when you look at it from that perspective, it's like, that was a huge burden that Simon had. Huge.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you're right.
He saw it through, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Not to mention also being the doctor for the ship.
Which is what my next point was. Like, being the doctor on this ship, on a space show, it can be a limiting role. It can be a limiting character. So what could they do for his story to keep him interesting? Because he can't always just be waiting in the medical bay for somebody to get hurt. He can't always be taking care of River. Like, they're going to have to do something more for his character for him to grow and keep him interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Star Trek proved that with Dr. McCoy and Dr. Crusher. They especially Dr. McCoy. He was just always on the bridge for whatever reason, which is hilarious. Yeah. But you look at that and he had so much different story and activity and things like that. So I think they could take a little bit of a lesson from that and say, hey, let's make, he was anyway, so it's not like he was only there. Like his two main roles were River and the crew as far as being the Doctor, which is actually quite a bit.
Right.
But it would be interesting if the love interest with Kaylee continues. There would be a little bit more there. And then it would also be interesting if he developed some additional... He has a lot of skills. But the question is, are those skills useful for a life of crime in space, Yeah. Yes, but it would be interesting to see if he could utilize some of those skills in that way.
Yeah. Well, because I think wasn't there an episode where he's like, I'm your doctor, I'll never hurt you kind of thing. Like there's got to be a situation where he might have to do something to like take a life to protect River or something that's completely against his moral code.
I hope they don't do that, actually.
Okay.
In fact, I think, wasn't there something where he just like knocked him out? I'm trying to remember. Like he didn't kill him, but he knocked him out in order to protect her.
Possibly.
Didn't he inject him?
I can't remember.
It's been a while, right?
Yeah.
So I gotta go back and look.
We'll pick it up in the rewatch.
Yeah, exactly. But I see what I would love to see is if he could hold his standards and his ideals as far as being a doctor, the Hippocratic Oath, and that kind of thing.
Okay.
If he could hold it to say he'll never actually kill if he doesn't. Of course, if it's a self-defense thing, that's a different story. But if he has a choice and he has, the upper hand in that kind of thing, he doesn't actually ever kill. He just knocks him out or drugs him or whatever and moves on. Like that's
right.
I'm hoping they can hold that, because I think if they break that, he's going to lose who he is.
That's a good point. That's actually, that's a really good point to make. I want to see him, because with his upbringing, his perspective on life and the way he protects, I wouldn't want that ruined, because they're out in the galaxy, they're out in space, and it's so rough out there, so it could easily corrupt anybody.
Absolutely.
So I think maybe be more interesting to see him put in situations where he's struggling with that, but he does manage to keep himself together. Yeah. Because we got to keep his story interesting. So he can't just be the doctor and it gets boring. I think challenging him would be interesting, but he does continually succeed to hold up his morals, his morality.
Yeah. That I would love to see. Like you said, the challenge where he's faced with oh my gosh, I feel like I have to kill this person or else, River's going to be threatened, but then he finds a way not to.
Yeah. Well, it's similar to Shepard Book, when Shepard doesn't want to kill anybody there. And remember, he's like, well, shoot them in the knees, they'll survive. Like,
exactly.
He's like, nobody, the Bible doesn't say anything about kneecaps. Like, it's
exactly
the same thing, right? So,
yeah, so it just says don't kill.
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything about injure or maiming.
Yeah, exactly. So if you had a favorite moment for Simon, like I know I mentioned one of mine was when he had Jayne on the table and he's just threatening him. I mean, that was a great moment for Simon there. But there is that one scene where he punches the captain. That came out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was pissed off and he punched the cat. And Mal comes right at him and he's swearing in Chinese, but doesn't fight him back. Like, there's a couple moments like that where Simon really surprised me.
Yeah. I think it goes back to what I was saying personally with just how he cared so much for River. And there's so many moments throughout the show about that, Yeah. And you see how he does it and how he overcomes, and it's just like, dang, that's tough, man. So, yeah, I think those were my favorite moments for him, just because it was such a cool moment. But, yeah, the one with Jayne on that was amazing.
That was pretty cool.
That really was amazing.
But the moment you're talking about, there's that one where River has a breakdown and she's like hiding in some small little room, and he gathers her up in his arms and he's just calming her down, and she's like, she's freaking out, like she's fritzing out, like a short circuit kind of thing. Yeah. And he just hugs her and holds her tight and takes care of her. Yeah. It's beautiful.
And then she's freaking out and talking in gibberish, and finally he's like, do you know who I am? She's like, Simon.
Yeah.
That was a really funny part too. That's great.
They had a great relationship. Well, that is half of the crew. We got through half of them. There's actually 4 characters left, Brian. We still have Wash. We still have River. We still have Inara, and we got Shepard Book. Plus, we've got... There's a couple key supporting side characters like Badger and Saffron and Adeline Niska that we're going to talk about. So how about this? What if we take a break here? We split this into a 2-part episode because we still don't know when the show's coming on air. We've already been talking for just over an hour. Why don't we make this a 2-parter, and we'll come back again in a week or so and finish off with the rest of the crew.
I love it because I think one thing I'm a little bit surprised by is how much discussion we've had about each character, which I love that. You know, we get into these pleasantly surprising kind of discussions and you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
That went a lot longer than I think we anticipated as far as how long we were going to talk. So I'm like, great, let's do that. Let's split it up. And we don't want to sacrifice any wonderful depth into each of these beautiful characters.
No, we don't. We want to give each character its due time. And I mean, it's not like we're diving in super, super deep, but we are getting into some nice, fun memories and discussions with them and stuff like that. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's
sounds great.
Get back to that. We'll come back again. So we'll end the show here, and let me just get some music playing.
Of course.
I love the Firefly soundtrack.
Oh my gosh.
It's so beautiful. So thanks everybody for being with us for this 4th episode. We'll come back at you with episode 5 to finish off the characters.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
And we'll bring that one a little bit sooner than maybe we can get that out like in the next week or so. And I mean, it'll be really fun.
We need some feedback too. So if you guys want to send in some feedback to the show, tell us how you feel about these characters. And we could include that in the second part as well.
Please, we'll play it.
FireflyStillFlyinPodcast at gmail.com. Send in your voicemails, send in your emails, and we'll make it part of the show.
Or send in your video, because we are on video. So
I could include it, yeah.
That would be awesome.
That would be a first in the Cybercast Network. We have never, ever done a video feedback yet. So
film yourself and let's have some fun.
Yeah, let's include it on the show. Why not? Excellent idea.
Yeah.
All right.
Just make sure to wear clothes because I almost didn't today. I was like, it's video on and clothes off. Let's go. Wait, that's podcasting, not that's the audio side of I get confused.
What's that saying? You have the face for radio?
Something like that, yes, yeah. We've got faces for radio for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we do have voices for video.
Voices for video. Man,
that doesn't make any sense, actually.
How does that work? I don't know.
I don't even know. Yeah. Whatever. We're not as pretty as some of those other people, but hey.
No.
We are shiny.
This is a good-looking cast. You got to give it to them. They're a good-looking cast.
That's true. Yep.
For sure. All right, everybody.
Well, thank you, Captain Tight Pants, for leading this charge. Appreciate it. And thanks for joining us.
Ryan, we still got to come up with a fun name for you. Like, I don't know what.
It doesn't work.
The Brian coat? Could you be the Brian coat instead of brown coat?
Ooh, instead of brown coat? Yeah, Brian coat. Ooh, yeah.
That one just came off the top of my head, but it kind of sounds silly.
Yeah.
We'll have to think of something.
I'll come up with a play on something. It'll be good. I haven't really given it much thought because the polls were kind of like, nah, keep your real names. I'm like, you know what? I might have to get in. I might have to come up with something.
We can do it for fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, take care. We'll talk to you soon. Woo.